Thanks, Cheryl. I'm Scott Navratil, VP of Sales and Marketing for Vitelity, and I also want to thank everyone for joining us today for our fourth installment of the Hosted PBX webinar series. Today we're going to be getting an in-depth overview and demo of Onvoy's new UCaaS platform called Atlas. And for those of you who may be new to Vitelity or Onvoy, I'd like to take just a few moments to outline the many services Vitelity provides for resellers and solution providers worldwide. In regards to Hosted PBX, whether you're getting it from another provider, Vitelity, or maybe you're doing the hands-on approach and building it yourself, you should know that Vitelity provides just about everything that you need to allow that PBX to communicate with the outside world. One of our specialties and the thing that we pride ourselves on is our DIDs and origination. We currently have the largest aggregate wholesale footprint in North America with 13,000 plus rate centers, about 54% more coverage than our closest competitor. We always have numbers in inventory, and they can all be instantly provisioned through our award-winning customer portal or API. All of our DIDs can be bundled with SMS, 911, CNAM, 411 directory assistance listings, LIDB, etc. And as the one of the largest wholesale CLECs in North America, you can rest assured that we can provide you very competitive low wholesale rates. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Janie at this time.
Excellent. We'll jump right in. So for the agenda, really for this hour, my intention is to give you an overview of our Unified Communications as a Service offer set. And so in doing so, I'm going to introduce to you a platform that we've named Atlas that we have worked to develop over the last 3 years to give access to our BroadSoft backend through this customized portal. So I'm going to go ahead and do a demonstration of the Atlas partner setup, which is where once someone decides to partner with us and white label or brand our white label product, there's a partner setup that we've developed that allows you to walk right through, and so I'm going to give you a visual of that. And then we will also look at how you generate a proposal once your partner setup is complete. So I have also on the deck demonstration of our customer administration portal as time permits. And then, of course, there's our promotional evaluation offer that you'll find out toward the end, and follow that up with some Q&A. So the Atlas platform, what is it? It's a customer administration portal as well as a lifecycle management platform for our partners. So it enables you to manage your entire hosted solution and your customer base right from a single portal. It gives you total control, and it's very personalized with your logos, and it's a very, very one of a kind. It's build to bill, if you will, and that's basically what Atlas is. It builds upon what you do in partner setup, and it's all connected, and you'll see that when I get to the live application. So it consolidates your partner setup, then generating proposals, converting those proposals to orders, fulfilling the orders, and then provisioning them, and the customer care element is also embodied within it. And then the customer admin portal, or what we've coined as the CAP, is just a small subset of features that you can give end users access to. And many use discretion on that. Many build another recurring line of revenue to do that management for customers that have no interest in touching it themselves. So it's really a discretionary thing for many of our partners, whether they give access to the CAP to their customers. And then, of course, there's a number of resources and branded marketing materials that come along with the setup and the partnership that we establish. So we have spent literally a little over 3 years and over about $24 million developing our platform. And just to really kind of level set before I even begin to talk about the product, would like to really touch upon the redundancy that's built into our MPLS network. So you can see in here, and I might zoom to make that look a little better, Scott. How about that? So you can see that we have full redundancy built in with high availability, Cisco core, and redundant servers in LA as well as New York, Chicago, and Vegas. And both of these locations are dual internet fed for even more redundancy. I like to quote one of our engineers who was one of the masterminds behind the development of this to say that we've got redundancy built into just ridiculous proportions. You know, best of breed, we're using Sonus for session border controllers. BroadSoft is our back-end software platform, and of course Cisco in the network. We have carrier-grade access, and so what does that mean? We separate the access from the end customers from our partners and our carriers. So it's highly secure in terms of how we separate the access through the Sonus SBCs. I'll zoom back out. Whoops, wrong way. So moving on from the network, let's frame up the product set. So we've named it, you know, VIP, and have gone with you know, names that start with a P just for our naming convention. Many of our partners choose to rename it, but we really have kind of profiled users into 3 different pillars, if you will. And starting over on the far right side with the VI Precision, that's the least feature rich. It's really kind of an 8 to 5 user that doesn't take work home, doesn't come and go throughout the day, does not have that mobility piece, as you can see in the lineup of features. The pricing that you're seeing here and anywhere in this presentation is all suggested retail. It is not wholesale pricing, so keep that in mind. So then moving across from right to left, going over to the professional seat, naturally, a professional seat or a professional person might be somebody that does need the mobility piece with being able to have find me, follow me, and presence, somebody that does come and go throughout the day, that kind of a you know, personal profile. And then up from there would be the Premier seat. And the Premier seat then includes a web sharing app, which is similar to the GoToMeeting like we're in right now, but it is the BroadSoft web sharing app that allows you, you know, to whiteboard and collaborate and share your screen with people in and out of your organization. And then lastly, there is a common area seat, if you will, that we've called the primer seat. And that's really not intended to be for a person or a user. It's really intended to be for a common area, kitchen, break room, that kind of thing. And so that particular seat is not feature rich at all. And the next couple of screens will kind of show you a lot of in addition to what you see here on this list of features, which is very high level, there's a very long, and I'll give you a nice eye chart here, there's a very long exhaustive list of feature functionality that does come with every one of those seats, the Premier, the Professional, and the Precision seat. So you can see that these are the typical PBX replacement type feature and functionality that you would find in most, you know, premise-based and other hosted solutions. And so once again, all of these features are embedded within every single one of those seats, and then the one that is meant for the break room or the lobby is a very limited feature set. So it's, you know, notice it doesn't have voicemail and it doesn't have a lot of the PBX replacement functionality because it's not meant for a person or a user. Okay. So from there, there's a number of things that are add-ons to the basic seat configuration that would make up any small to medium or large enterprise. So here's a whole list of the different advanced features that can be added on, and then obviously it builds in the monthly recurring revenue for your business. So currently, the next screen is going to show a list of things that we automatically include in every PBX that we build. So you can see here there's a number of ways to grow the opportunity into some pretty serious recurring revenue for the organization. So now this next list is what we include with every PBX that we build that doesn't generate additional MRC. And so I guess you would say whatever seat configuration, however many seats or users that are configured, you will know and your customers will know that there will be a company main number and DIDs issued for all users the extension-to-extension dialing, and then, of course, for every 3 users in a configuration, we include 1 hunt group, and we include a basic auto attendant, which allows 1 tree menu level. The dial by name directory is included, customizable music on hold, and then storage options if there is recording that's purchased as an a la carte item. And then we provide also with every PBX an unlimited long distance plan to the lower 48, as well as international dialing today. And that's to most exchanges, you know, caveat here, most exchanges within 22 international destinations. And then we perform all the E911 reporting services with every PBX, as well as the porting services that are required to bring these users over. We've become very loyal to Polycom. We like our Polycom sound, and we continue to generate that loyalty. So as it relates to cordless, though, we do use the Yealink cordless devices. But from a desk set perspective, we are very loyal to Polycom, and the VVX is the current series by Polycom. And if you find opportunities out there where they have older versions of Polycom, we can certainly use those MAC addresses and light those up in our system as well. It is just fine for people to bring their own devices to our environment, but we do supply them as well when needed. So let me end the PowerPoint portion, and I'm going to pan over to Atlas. And so, Scott, do you want to confirm that you're seeing Atlas now?
I can see it just fine.
Perfect. And so what I'm showing you here is going to start with the partner setup. So I'm in here in a demo environment naturally, and I'm going to click on this particular partner. And so what happens when you partner with us, we come in here and we build a basic shell of information that would basically get this to about 60% complete. And so what happens is you then are able to come in here and add your basic information, contact information about your company, okay? So from there, you would then build in your contacts, and if you expand these out, it gives you the opportunity to fill in the contact information, indicate for this person's role, do they want to be notified from us on these different sorts of topics. And you simply fill in all the blanks. It's looking pretty easy so far. We then have you come in here and decide on your pricing. What we do is we fill in the wholesale cost of all of the phones and all of the hardware that you could potentially configure and purchase through us. And you come in and you set your partner product price. So this is the price that you're going to sell this for. And what happens is everything that you populate here at the line item level becomes available to you later when we are going to be over here in the sales order tab actually generating a proposal. So like I said, your wholesale price is grayed out, can't be changed. The partner price can be changed by you and should be inclusive of your markup. And that's going to be driven into the proposal that you generate from the sales order tab. So you would simply go through the entire product line and turn it all on, because by default, it's going to be turned off when we roll out anything new. Just by turning it on over here is what's going to allow it to show up in the drop-downs when you get over to the sales order tab to generate a proposal. So anything that's turned off would be not available to you in the drop-down. So right now, these older model of Polycom phones are turned off in this case. Those wouldn't show up in the drop-down to sell. If you wanted to bring them because you had a customer that had them, you would turn this on, and then you'd be able to provision with the MAC address from the older SoundPoint 335 model. Just scrolling through, just to give you an idea, the entire lineup of VVX phones and SoundStation phones are in here. So from there, we get over to the products and services, And what happens is that basically the same experience, but now this is all the software. We'll go right down here to the business seats, and you'll see there's been a name change on one of these. For the Premier, it's been renamed Executive, which is easy enough to do. So these can be named whatever you decide if you want to change the naming convention. And then again, the wholesale cost is in there, and you would determine your partner price. Suggested retail gets populated by default, which is what you're seeing here. However, the recommended equipment is also a selection that can be made, and this selection here will automatically default when you choose a precision seat when you're in the sales order tab building the proposal. It will automatically default to a VVX 400 and potentially save you in keystrokes as you're building your proposal if most of the time you know that that particular seat would be paired with that model phone. It can be changed, of course, in the sales proposal generation process, but at least this is here just meant to save you steps down the way. So lastly, so far everything is pretty darn easy. Lastly, the branding piece. This is what can take you some time. So I'm going to scroll back up. There's 3 different tabs to this. So you're going to populate here your basic branding information. Exactly, what you are calling your company or your LLC or whatever it is that you're going to be selling this under. And then, of course, we are going to need a couple of URLs. If you're going to have a customer administration portal that you're going to be giving to your customers, which a percentage you will, we're going to need URLs for that. And then as I scroll down here, there's just basic contact information for your branded items, usually somebody in a marketing department, right? And then, of course, a couple of links to where you're going to house privacy statement, terms and conditions. Those things are, we provide you with templates that you can use, and we just need the links to where they're going to be hosted. And then from there, there's a bunch of collateral that comes along with the onboarding process. So there's a bunch that's free, and then there's some that has a price tag associated. I shouldn't say free. I mean, it's included in your setup fee. So from there, you can turn on all these different pieces of collateral that'll get you started with covering the bases on, the quick start guides and things that you would use when you roll out of the gate and start selling this to end customers. And then when it comes to paid collateral, that would be videos and such. So what happens is most people go along with everything that they can get their hands on that's included in the setup fee, which is quite a bit. And then from there, we go over to the logo and images page. And this is where it gives you the ability to, upload your logos and apply your color schemes to the ribbons and the widgets. And as you build things out over here, you're able to see the, a high-level piece of what it is you're creating. So right here would be probably a pretty undesirable example, right, with these color combinations that we have going on, kind of intentional here to kind of show, but at least you can see from a high level what you're building out and make sure that, you don't have too much purple or not enough red or whatever your colors that are in here. So it gives you the file size limitations and the file type sort of detail, and then whatever banner that you want, which this one is the End Command app. That's what this banner is represented by here. And so before you actually hit publish of all of this information, which right here, this one is done. It's 100% complete. But before this 100% complete gets there, there's another icon we're not seeing because this is already published, and it would be here, and it says publish. And so what happens when you complete all of your information, you're working with the onboarding rep, they review it for a final time, you hit publish, and what happens is several people get notifications within our organization from the development team to start building this portal for you and your customer administration portal, and the marketing team to start generating all of the collateral that's going to be available to you from a Dropbox download. So from there, once it's all complete, 100% here, and publish has been hit, you then are able to actually build, sales opportunities and orders within the system. So I'm going to go over to the sales order tab now and give you an idea what that looks like. So it's all widget based. I can expand these widgets out if I want to. In this case, I'm going to generate a new proposal, and it's going to be an enterprise, not a residential opportunity. And I'm going to hit proceed. And the next thing that it does is it takes you to this serviceability check page, which will then check against our E911 Intrado database. And let me see here. We'll get in a right, and this is in Texas. I'm going to do an actual address here so that it will not error out against our Intrado database, right? Oops, 75304. Anybody recognize that number? And it likes the address, so it quickly checks against Intrado and BillSoft, our billing system, and it reformats the address in such a way for E911 purposes. And I'm just going to say yes, it likes that address, and then it next prompts you into the products, adding the products page. So from here, I'm just going to add a few lines, and you'll see what I mean then by all of these things showing up in this drop-down, which is what I turned on or had yes turned on for in the partner setup. So from here, I'm going to say we're going to have, let's say we've got 5 executive seats, and yep, 410 POE, but if I want to change that, I can change it to 300s if they're going low-end phones. If I want to add a standalone mailbox, I can do that. Various things, all the things that are available to you here were, if I want to build in, if I've got 5 phones and I'm going to charge $50 or $25 or $100 a phone for installation, I can add that in here as well. And so from here, once you build out your entire configuration, you would just hit proceed. And then you can modify addresses if needed for shipping destination. Typically, you're going to have them shipped to you rather than the end customer so that you can activate them and make sure everything is working fine before bringing them on premise. If I'm porting numbers, I'm going to say, yep, I'm transferring existing numbers. And the tool automatically brings you into this compact view, which if I scroll down here, you're going to see a compact view of what my order is made up of. And so what I'm going to do is take that off, and it's going to expand that out. Which is then going to enable me to put the names on the phones. And doing it here saves in lots of keystrokes so that you don't have to do it once you take delivery of the phones. It's a fraction of the keystrokes to do it here. And so now as I scroll down, you can see that, of course, the first thing, we're focusing here in the center column of the screen. And you can see the first thing here in the configuration is the auto attendant, $0 per month. We automatically include that. And then there's the name that was on my serviceability check page is automatically populated here and would be edited to include, reflect the names of all the individual users, right? So there's a couple of things that were not out in the drop down to pick from, but I could add, call recording here if I wanted to add call recording for this particular user. And then of course I can still, even at this level, I can go ahead and click on this if I want to change the phone type to maybe, a grand stream, let's say. And I would just scroll down and select that phone instead. So there's several places where you can continue to modify based on the user's preference. Now, notice also that based upon this seat level, the two higher level seats have some flexibility in terms of doesn't need the device. Maybe they're just going to use the web apps that come along with the mobility piece. And so speaking of that, I might as well drag it over and show you what that looks like. So the instant messaging client for your desktop, as well as another one for iPhone or Android, comes along with the two higher level seats. And so what I can do here is simply, never have to use a physical hard phone. I can make phone calls right from here. I can build my buddy list, which I've done, and this is our live production system internally. I noticed Dave here, he's on a call, and actually I know he's on this call, so I can just click on him even though he's on a call. I can, can you chat? Maybe he can chat with me. Let's say that him and I are chatting, and I decide I'm not getting my point across, and let's say that his color was green, and instead of on a call, green means available. I could just say, this isn't cutting it. You're not getting my point across. Can you talk? And I can just click this, and we can connect, live via the phone. Or I could do a video call. By default, we turn video calling off. Most people are not using it, but by request, those two upper level seats also include video calling. And then if perhaps the phone isn't getting it, chatting isn't getting it, and I want to advance to a screen share with Dave, I can do that, and it'll prepare to share my screen. And as soon as I click the arrow button, I'd be sharing my desktop with Dave, just like that. There's other ways I can copy this link if I wanted to. By hitting this icon, I could copy that into an email if I needed to send it to somebody outside the company. Or there's plenty of ways to send the invite to actually do the screen sharing. But I can quickly and easily get to that. And I can also send him a file. I can send him any attachment that I can browse to from my PC through this tool. And nicely too, it does store history. So if Dave told me something a month ago, I can go back in the history and find that information, which is a very, very useful tool. So from there, dial the directories in here. You build your buddy list. You can dial outside the organization, inside the organization. I can publish my location if I want to or not. And basically communicate internally as I do as a remote employee. I find this tool incredibly valuable throughout my day. There's not a day that goes by that I don't, first thing I do when I sit down is launch that app. So anyway, very useful tool. But in any event, customers could choose, doesn't need the device and simply use the soft apps that we bring into the equation. So from there, what's filling on the far right-hand side is kind of a summary of my shopping cart, if you will. And so what I use that for is to cross-check my work. I go and I make sure that, as I built this out, that I spelled everyone's names correctly. I've paired this person with the right seat level and the right device type. Okay, so that's this summary of everything is very nice, useful to be able to make sure that I've got all of my names on the phones and they're spelled correctly. In the upper left here, this would be where if I've got a main location in Frisco, but I've got 2 remote locations, I would simply add a location, and you're going to be able to label that location with whatever nickname that's useful to the end users. And then you would fill in that address, that physical address, just like we did when we initiated the order for location 1. And then it would allow you to add all of the users by location. So you're building them out separately. And then all of these locations would clearly be able to extension dial one another, use shared resources such as receptionists and operators, kind of a thing, and as well as call center, layering call center licensing on top of the seat levels can allow for sharing and overflow of call volumes when needed among the locations. Okay. So from there, I'm going to scroll all the way down. We simply would calculate shipping. We would apply the shipping, and you've got options to do UPS, FedEx, ground, next day, on all and everything in between, and that can be selected once the calculation is made here. And then we apply the shipping. We include taxes. Taxation is something that is estimated here. It's pretty accurate. It's what we're generating here is meant to be a customer-facing document. We, with tax exemption paperwork on file, do not tax our partners. They're responsible for the taxation piece. But we do include it just to be reflective of all the line items that a customer could potentially expect to see. And so once this continues to calculate the taxation and it's complete, what happens is this you know what I did? Let me do something here. I'm going to go back to the Add Products tab and get rid of that error. I'm going to get rid of this because that's what's causing it. And scroll back down. I'm going to hit continue. And then what this does is populates an email for me that I can use to send to an end customer, or I can decide to perhaps just print the PDF and go ahead and have a meeting and review it live, which is really my preference. So we can go to create proposal or create order. The difference between the two is create order has a signature block on it, but the output is identical. So I'm going to say create proposal, and this is going to then populate and send an email that I can change this to send it to myself. If I don't want to send it to my end customer, I don't have to. There's some canned language here that's modifiable. And if I scroll down, there's a hyperlink to be able to view this proposal. And what happens is the end customers are, once they click, if you do send this by email and they do click on this hyperlink, you will get an email notification telling you that they just opened your proposal. And so then there's the PDF attachment, which you could decide to just simply print and walk on, have a meeting with your client and review it that way. And so I'll go ahead and send that, and then I'm going to jump into to show you what the customer admin portal, while we're waiting for that email to send. I'm going to jump into a demo environment whereby you can see just what a customer could potentially have access to. So I'm going to go into the Services tab. After it refreshes and paints. So notice there's a map here showing where my physical demo phones are. So I've got 2 in Minnesota, and I have 8 users down in Texas. And it's super nice, that map, if you obviously are geographically dispersed around the country or the globe. So from here, I can come in and this is still your view, a partner's view, very widget-based. Once again, You can go ahead and edit particular users if you would like. Let's say that I'm going to say that I want to edit this extension 1005. This is the subset of functionality, and this functionality only, that you would give your customers access to. Unless they had an IT person that wanted deeper access than this, but the end users would literally have access to this short list of functionality that they can modify on their own. So they can come in here and they can turn on voicemail to email if they want to, by using the functionality here. They can forward all, or they can send a copy, either one. They can create alternate greetings, have a default greeting as well as others. They can determine what they want to happen with inbound calls, outbound calls, and a little bit of call control activity with regard to whether they want music on hold to play. You know, it's just a variety of things that they can't break, things that they can get in here and modify and play with, and not necessarily break anything. They do have access to be able to modify this E911 address. So if a person goes on an extended leave and takes their IP phone home, they want to come in here and modify the physical address in case somebody does dial 911 from that device. So basic, very basic functionality that you know, you can decide to give customers access to or not. So with that, I think that leaves us with a good chunk of time. If you want to see if there is any Q&A in the chat, or are we going to be giving people some time back?
Yeah. Well, thanks, Jeannie. Yeah, and we are going to be doing the question and answer. So let me, and then Cheryl's going to do some housekeeping things right here at the end. So give me one second.
You wanted to talk about the promotional piece, right? So you're probably going to take the screen back?
That's correct. Yep, I should have it back now. So, yeah, so we'll have some stuff. We'll talk about the promotion. There was a couple of questions about that. Let me get that real quick. Keep on talking my questions thing here. So, so if you do have questions, you can type them into your chat client. I do see them. So every question that was asked earlier, I do have a record of that, and we'll go through these and get those answered for you right away. So give me one second here. So Gina, I'll just go ahead and read these questions out and have you respond to them. So one of the first ones I got from Eric. Eric, yes, we will have a full copy of this presentation. It'll be on our YouTube channel. And then once you reach out to our sales team, we can actually send you some documentation basically of the different slides that Jeannie had initially about the different products, product features, and pricing. So you will have access to that. You also had a question. I want to interpret the question regarding Polycom and Yealink. One of other customers have asked, is there other phones that they can use with this platform, or is it, are they restricted to Polycom and Yealink?
We are very loyal to Polycom. We have a significant amount of automation built in to provisioning the phones. So would any SIP device work? Yes, it would. But it would require manual effort on the side of our partners. So we highly encourage the Polycom, and literally what happens, we ship phones that are not activated, and we email activation codes. When you receive the phones, you then refer to the email, you plug the phone into an Ethernet port, you're prompted for that activation code, which then reaches out to our provisioning server via the MAC address, and that's where we push the file, the config file, out to the devices. So that's what I mean by we have a lot of automation built in. That automation isn't built for every manufacturer's phone out there. So that's a, you know, the biggest reason why.
Okay. Hope that answers the question. And then there was a follow-up question. Let me get back to that one. So, and I think Raj was asking if the older 79 series of Cisco phones were supported, firmware supported as well. But I think that answers that question a little bit. So, okay. Hey, Bill from CyberData, I did get your your information. I will reach out to you after this presentation, and we'll talk about that. And then Roger, yes, there is a demo account. There will be a free trial or an evaluation available for this platform. I think we're doing a 30-day evaluation on that. Just want to remind everybody, though, it's a very involved process to get that set up. So Jeannie and her team, it takes a lot of resources to get these going. So definitely, if you're serious, we can absolutely get you set up with an evaluation. But just want to if you're not too serious or it's not really something you're looking at this time, I would just respectfully ask that maybe you defer that a little bit until you're ready for that. So, question from Carl. The question is regarding billing. So does the system bill the client directly? So does the reseller bill the customer or the end user, or does Onvoy Vitelity? How does that work?
The resellers would be responsible for billing and for Tier 1 support, both of those things in our white label wholesale sort of relationship. So we would bill the partner community, and the partner would bill the end customer.
Okay, and does the platform actually generate so I think you went through that, it can generate the invoice and distribute them to the end users automatically, or does the reseller have to export those files and then manually, send those out, or how does that work?
Yep, a billing platform would be a requirement. I will say that we are in the process of establishing billing as a service for partners that don't have a billing platform. But yeah, a billing platform would be a requirement.
Okay. Is there a way to, so that's something this could be exported like, spreadsheets, so you could do it with QuickBooks or you could do it with Excel? I mean, do you literally need a billing platform of WAPE or a telecom billing platform to do this?
Well, I do believe you're going to need more than QuickBooks, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we'll, as more information becomes available for what you're working on for the hosted billing component of that, we'll work to provide some different options and recommendations for customers that they can use to get that covered. So, Oren asks, did we mention any pricing? Oren, we did. It was one of the first slides that we put up there. When you reach out to our sales team, we'll be able to provide you with that sales documentation and pricing.
Yep, everything in the presentation, just as a reminder, is all manufactured suggested retail.
Okay. Question from Seth: can the URL for the portal be the reseller's portal? Can they brand the URL?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Let's go down here. So Seth, I think Jeannie just mentioned, so the resellers are responsible for Tier 1 support. So his question was, who handles troubleshooting? For example, if the customer has an ad issue, how is this troubleshooted and escalated? I assume that would be, the first tier of support would be on the reseller?
That is correct.
Okay. And then they would be able to escalate.
And then they would swivel to us for support beyond that.
Okay, great.
The reseller would swivel to us.
Okay, so there'll be mechanisms in place and contact information. So if you do need to escalate to Onvoy regarding the platform or regarding the subtrunking or call quality, then you'll have all information to that contact.
Absolutely, we do have a published escalation procedure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Chuck asks, are all Yealink phones supported, or is it just the wireless ones?
Just the cordless. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also pricing tiers, that's something that we will have. We're still kind of working on that internally. We're trying to define what that will be because of the platform does include the LD minutes. So we'll hopefully here in the next several weeks be able to provide our resellers, the Vitelity VARs, with what the wholesale pricing would be for this platform in each one of those tiers. So stand by for that, Eric. Let me see here. And then Chima asks, will existing Vitelity wholesale accounts be migrated to this new platform? Really this is I guess the answer is going to be no, at least as far as I know. This is an optional platform that our resellers will have access to. And so, we'll have procedures in place that allow you to, obviously resell this platform to your customers who you feel are, would be the best fit for it. But, you still will be able to maintain your Vitelity wholesale account for all the other stuff that you're currently getting through us. So if you're using other platforms, and this would be designed to supplement that, or if you want to use 911 or fax, directly through Vitelity, that's still available to you. So the answer on that team would be not at this time. So. Scrolling down, so I'm excited to see there's lots of questions on this, which I kind of expected. So let's see. What's the great question, Rick? What's the minimum seats required? Is there a minimum for each deployment of? Okay, 1 seat. Okay.
It's a lot of work for 1 seat, but one is all it takes.
Okay. Luis, you had asked about the billing module, so that's something that we'll be able to follow up with information on that, or at least some recommendations for some other partners that we could steer you to that might be able to help with that. Same thing, Seth, you had asked about taxes, same thing, how is that handled? We'll provide more information on that. At the end of the day, it really is, the VAR's responsibility to handle the billing and regulatory. And with most of these VoIP billing platforms, a lot of them have that regulatory component into them, depending on which ones you go with. Some do, some don't. But we're going to try to give you some information and resources that'll help you with all components of what you'll need for the billing of this service. So, seeing a lot of same questions around that billing. Question from Bill, can you auto-provision major Yealink models?
No, we cannot. Just the cordless.
Just with the cordless, okay. Bill, you also asked, who do you contact for pricing? So we'll have that contact information up here shortly. So right now, you guys will reach out directly to the Vitelity wholesale sales team. They will be able to provide you with basically all the information that you need. If you're seriously want to evaluate the product, they have the required evaluation form that they can send you, as well as a copy of this presentation and any other additional documentation you might want regarding the platform. So we'll have that up here shortly, Bill. You'll be able to get all that contact information and take the next step with that. All right, next. Dennis, so your question regarding pricing is, are there standard discount tiers margin off of MSRP pricing shown? We're still working on that. We'll hopefully have that available here in the next couple of weeks for our resellers, and that'll define what type of, what's your initial wholesale discount, and we haven't decided if there's going to be additional tiers based on volume. So, but we'll always work with our customers, especially the ones that are going to be selling this in volume. So we'll try to make sure you get the best deal out there. Dennis is asking, what is the setup fee? So do you need, I don't know if you mentioned that or not, or?
Yep, I did. It varies based upon level of commitment. So I think with that, that's going to be released as you develop whether or not you're going to have various tiers.
Okay, great. There is a process. So, so I guess that's kind of an individual case basis. Dennis, so we'll be able to provide that to you as that information becomes available, with a little better idea of what you can expect to set up 1 seat or 300 seats. So let's see here where we're at. These keep coming in here. James is asking, does it integrate to Freeside billing, which I know Freeside is very popular, especially in the asterisk space. Is there any kind of direct plugins or APIs for that, or is that?
I don't know. Dave, do you happen to know the answer to that?
Yeah, I'm glad the billing piece is being brought up a number of times, because it's something that we're actively looking at. I don't know specifically about that particular application. We do have the ability to build APIs into various systems, but in general, what I wanted to mention with regards to billing is, Janie mentioned the billing as a service is something that we're working on, and that's going to be a kind of a full turnkey option that we have for our partners sometime next year. But in the interim, we have a few different things that we can do. One, we can output data into a spreadsheet that the resellers can use to generate their own invoices or bills to customers. And then in early 2017, kind of an interim step before the full billing as a service, we're looking at utilizing our internal billing platform to be able to generate some bills too. So I don't necessarily want to discourage anybody from sitting back waiting for the billing piece. I think we'd still like to talk to a lot of the resellers as far as their requirements for billing and see if a couple of these interim steps or interim solutions would work for them today. So there are a few options before we get to the full billing as a service platform, including APIs.
Oh, awesome. Great. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate the clarification on that. And with respect to time, we're about down to 5 more minutes here, so I'm just going to read out a couple more questions. I'm going to hand it back over to Cheryl. She's going to put up the contact information and how to get the evaluations for those who are interested, how to get that going. And then we will finish up and let you get back to your days. So one of the questions that Tim asked is SIP trunking possible with this platform? So basically bring your own trunks for your own minutes. Okay. So there are
we
options
offer
around
SIP
that.
trunking as well. I didn't even include any of that in the presentation, but we do have SIP trunks as well as residential services.
Okay, and that's something that, you know, if you're interested in that, then go through your Vitelity wholesale sales rep and they'll be able to get you the information and a little more detail about what that is. Let's see here, one more. What was the last one here? This one's from Peter. Once a Polycom phone is provisioned on this platform, can we later customize the phone via firmware edits?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Does it support text messaging?
Does
so direct
not
SMS outbound.
today.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Any ETA for that?
I don't know of an ETA for it. Do you, Dave?
Nor do I. No, I don't.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Today we just don't have an SMS
that information okay, cool. That answers the question, and as we get more information on that, we'll let everybody know. So there are a few other questions. I'll go through those, and we'll see if we can respond directly to those individuals who had those questions. Sorry if I didn't get to everybody, but we are running short on time. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to Cheryl. She's going to close us out with a few additional housekeeping items, and we'll be done. So give me 1 second. I'll hand it over to Cheryl.
Wow, that was quite the presentation. Lots of questions, too. Thank you, Janie. We would like to offer for today's attendees a special promotion, and that is something that Scott already mentioned, a 30-day free evaluation and test account. And I'm told non-billable is an important term to include. If you contact Vitelity sales representatives by December 7th, which is just a week, so you want to respond or check into that as soon as possible, and we'll show the next slide for, I think it's our 2017 webinar series. We are excited to put together a series for next year. We'll be covering multiple topics, not just hosted PBX solutions. And again, for a copy of today's presentation, visit our YouTube channel, and you can see all 4 parts of our presentations from the series. This will probably be up this coming Monday, so give us just a few days to do our edits, and we'll have that posted for you by Monday. It goes without saying, I guess, happy holidays, everyone, from all of us at Vitelity. We're thankful for your business and happy that you have worked with us over 2016. And I'll wrap it up now. Thank you, Janie, and thank you, everyone, for attending today's webinar. If you would like more information about today's solution, or you have additional questions, please contact us by means of either carrier sales@vitelity.com or the phone number that you have listed there, and one of our sales experts will be on hand to discuss with you any questions that you might have. So on behalf of everyone at Vitelity, thank you for joining us today, and have a happy holidays.